Hi everyone, it's Chris from Clearly Crafted. I wanted to talk a little bit about wrinkles. I know I've gotten a lot of questions recently about our pieces that get wrinkles. You know, a lot of people are upset when their piece gets wrinkles. Wrinkles are kind of part of decoupage depending on the paper that we're using. So a lot of our papers are more prone to wrinkling. Napkins particularly, a little bit with rice papers, not so much, but you'll definitely get it with your tissue papers and some of the very thin papers. The biggest one is napkins. So this is napkin on tile. I did the iron-on method. So everyone thinks that the iron-on method prevents wrinkles. And it does when you initially put it down and you iron your napkin down. It looks wonderful. There's no wrinkles. It looks like, whoa, you know, everybody, it's you hear the angels sing and you're like, oh, I finally figured out how to keep myself from getting wrinkles on my project. And then you go to put a top coat on and that all goes to heck in a handbasket. All of the wrinkles then show up then, and they do. The issue is it's the paper that we're using, the napkins. Napkins are so fine, they're very delicate. As soon as you touch it with any kind of, if it can be a spray on top coat, it can be a brush on top coat, it can be Mod Podge, it can be varnish, it can be whatever you want it to be, and you're still going to get wrinkles as soon as that liquid touches your paper. So some of the biggest things that we need to learn to do is hide the wrinkles. Ta-da! And that's what I want to teach you. Just like I have wrinkles on my face, I put on makeup and it hides my wrinkles. Same thing I'm going to teach you to do here. It's that layering. That's why when you look at true decoupage artists will use thick paper, wrapping paper, heavyweight paper on a lot of their projects, and then you see where they tell you that they've used 30 coats of varnish because it's building those layers that then smooth out the surface, and that's what hides those the thicker papers, the edges of those papers, the wrinkles. Now this is a piece of fabric. Fabric really doesn't wrinkle. You can get some bubbles under because this is tile. This is just regular old tile. And then this is a piece of fabric that's on there. The biggest thing you'll get is some bubbles. You can iron them back down. You can press them down. They dry. So you don't get a lot of wrinkles with fabric. I love fabric. Fabric is very pretty. And it's nice to work with, except for the little flyaways and the little strings that can, and that we'll talk about it on another video. So what I want to do is just show you this piece, and then I'm going to do a picture tutorial that'll go along with this so that you can see each layer and how it gets rid of the wrinkles. Now, I know this is hard to see here, and I do have some pictures that I took in the bright sunlight so you can see. So some of the embossing from the napkin is down here, and you can see some of the wrinkles. And they showed up as soon as I put Mod Podge on top. Now this does have 2 coats of Mod Podge on top, and then I ironed it again. So it definitely smoothed out a lot of the wrinkles. But how do I get this to go away? Now one, I like some texture. Honestly, if I were to leave this like this, I would probably, you know, do another coat of Mod Podge and then some varnish. And I'm okay with some texture to my piece. I'm not expecting perfection. I don't want this to look like it just came out of a machine. I created this, I crafted it. I'm okay with that imperfection. And I like texture. So when you touch, you'll see many of my other videos, I showed you how to build texture under this. Like I'm gonna wrinkle tissue paper and put that down first so that I have all kinds of bumps and lumps, and I have all those textures. I like some texture. I just think it brings interest. And that's my personal feelings over a lot of my pieces. Sometimes do I want it nice and smooth? Yes. So this piece of fabric, nice and smooth, looks nice. This will end up getting some heat proof. This will be more of a trivet. So I will put polyvine on this one and let this go so that it can be used as a trivet, and I'll put little feet on it. Now I have another one Excuse my reaching here. So this is one, but this also has, this is fabric on this one. So that one came out really neat and it's nice and smooth, but it is a little rough. Fabric ends up being rough once you put polyvinyl on. So, I mean, excuse me, once you put Mod Podge on and you put it down, it actually has a very rough texture, which I don't like. So it feels almost like sandpaper. So what I end up doing is adding some layers of Mod Podge and then I sand it and it makes it smoother. And I definitely like that with fabric. So, or you can iron it and it takes out some of that roughness. That would be harder to iron because of the type of container it is. So with this, all I'm gonna do, so this was ironed. It has some texture to it still, and I do want to get rid of that because I want to show you what I'm doing. So this is just matte Mod Podge. I like these big flat brushes. They tend to be my preference. And I like them to be wet, but not sopping. And then I am just going to throw on a layer. As you can see, you know, nothing fancy. And I do have to put on my glasses so I can see what I'm doing. Because I do want a nice solid layer because I'm looking to build the surface. So think of it that way. So I'm looking to build up a surface that ends up becoming level. So you think about it with the texture and the little bit of wrinkles, my surface is not level. It's, you know, a little bumpy and off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just build up these slow, even layers and then letting it dry in between. I usually do 3 coats of Mod Podge as my top layer. And then I start with my varnish layers. And I don't go as far as many of the decoupage artists. I only go so far. The most I've ever done was 10 layers of varnish and nice thin layers, and then, you know, letting them dry. So you can see how this is on here. You can see it's that little bit of milky that'll dry clear. And then what I'm going to do from here is just do pictures and show you each layer that I do and show you how those wrinkles slowly disappear. And it's that depth. I always tell you it's that depth that creates that glass-like finish. That depth hides the wrinkles. It gives you it really makes the picture show up. It's almost like looking through the bottom of a glass. So you don't see all of those little imperfections. So for everyone that is upset about wrinkles, you're going to have wrinkles. It's very difficult to get rid of them. You know, some people say they use saran wrap. I've used saran wrap. It does help some. If I'm using a small piece, I rarely have wrinkles on something small. But when you get to the bigger pieces, the full napkins, the larger piece of napkin, that's when you start having wrinkles. If I'm using just a little tiny, you know, piece of a picture, a piece of a napkin, no, you can put that down, you can smooth it out, no problem. It's when you're getting into these bigger designs and the bigger tiles and, you know, the pictures and things that you're looking to make something a little larger, that's when you're starting to see the wrinkles. So that's what we're talking about here. So as I keep saying, I'm going to get you to love your wrinkles, at least on your decoupage, because we're going to hide it. All right. And I told someone recently, I said, I think I'm going to try and put some Mod Podge in my, you know, nighttime cold cream and see if it helps. But that's about it. All right, guys, happy Sunday and keep crafting. And I love seeing everybody's projects. So love our group. We have a great group. And I will talk to everybody soon. Have a great one.